Gaming and tech this week is actually a bit bigger than normal, so that's pretty hype. Not for the least of which because it is Mario Day, but also Splitgate 2 open beta drops very soon, dual wielding factions, and a lot more we're going to break down. We have Death Stranding 2 pre-order date. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We have a lot of, like I said, a lot of stuff to talk about in gaming and tech, so without any further ado. Welcome once again, nerds, to the Clips channel. This is a smaller portion of a much larger video called The Week in Nerddom that happens over on the main channel. This portion is specifically the gaming and tech portion, where we're going to be talking about brand new things in the world of gaming and tech. So like new computer things. We don't really get too deep into that. I feel like the guys over at Linus and Gamers Nexus and such cover that fairly well. So we'll get the broad strokes there. We'll get in a little bit more deeply in the gaming side of things, so new announcements, DLCs, etc., etc. And then, you know, we're going to suggest some things for you to try out between now and next time you come back. So thank you for joining me. Let's get into the news. Gaming and tech. This week we got follow-ups and corrections. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So this week was in follow-ups and corrections. This week was Mario Day. Mario Day was Monday, March 10th. If you abbreviate, it looks like Mario, right? So March 10th. Iconic video game character. This is a little bit of a history behind it. I kind of summarized it a little bit, so I'm going to read directly from the notes, so I apologize. But the iconic video game character from Nintendo's hugely popular Super Nintendo franchise, or Super Mario franchise. He was created by Shigeru Miyamoto. Mario first appeared in '81 arcade Donkey Kong as Jumpman before he was ever referred to as Mario. In his own game in '85, Super Mario Bros. On the NES, it was a little bit later, celebration of Mario Day started gaining traction in early 2000s when fans noticed the date's resemblance to Mario's name. Nintendo officially embraced the celebration in 2016, turning it into an annual event to honor the mustachioed plumber and his adventures. Typically, Mario Day is marked by video game discounts, especially on Nintendo titles, special events, merchandise releases, and fan celebrations. For example, Nintendo often offers deals on games like Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Maker 2, through the eShop, and retailers like GameStop, Best Buy, etc., etc. often join in the promotions. This year's Mario Day, there were a couple of discounts that were only available for the day. They also announced something else that we're going to be talking about in the regular ass news section for gaming. Just kind of a happy Mario Day. Let's move right along, shall we? We do have a couple other follow-ups for gaming and tech. The first of which being a YouTube follow-up. Oh, I'm sorry, the Starfield follow-up rather. So there was very little in the world of Starfield as far as updates and DLC and stuff since November of last year, when Bethesda presumably fixed what they could, at least, of the bugs that were going on, and there was a lot of them at the time. So they just announced via TWIX that in 2025 they're going to correct the low volume of releases, I guess. So no details yet as to what exactly that means or how, what kind of updates we're going to be getting. I do have my own speculation. We'll get into that at the end, at the speculation section in the rumor mill. There's a lot of speculation going on. More free DLC content, what have you. It kind of runs the gamut. But there will be something, according to Bethesda, there will be a few somethings, presumably, throughout the course of 2025 while they gear up for Fallout 5 or whatever the hell they're working on next. So that's what we have on Starfield. Then let's get to that YouTube update, which is they are offering a new lower tier premium version of YouTube. So YouTube Premium currently is something along the lines of $13, $14 a month, and it takes away all of the ads, and you get YouTube Music for free, and there's no ads on the YouTube Music, and there's a number of other perks involved. Well, what they're going to do now is they're going to be offering a lower tier that isn't going to get rid of all of the ads, just a good chunk of them, it sounds like, and is going to be $8.99. It will not be completely ad-free. So they said that you will still get ads in the music side of things. It will just be less than if you were working on a free plan. Also, long form content by and large is going to be where the most ad-free elements are going to come into play. It sounds like episodes of like programming, podcasts, etc., something that's going to last over 20 minutes or so seems to be roughly the implication. They didn't come out and say explicitly what that line was, but that seems to be what they're implying. You know, you have an episode of some sort of television, you have an episode of a podcast, you have whatever the hell Linus does on their live streams, like that kind of stuff is going to be what is commercial free. If you were watching music videos, listening to music in the background, or actually I take that back, because background play is not going to be an option with this lower tier on mobile. So yeah, that's pretty silly. The reason I wanted to put this into this week's episode is because this is kind of an ongoing conversation. Is it enough to just be mostly ad-free for you to pay $8-9 a month for this service? Like I feel like the streaming platforms are all struggling, and YouTube was kind of immune to it at a certain point, and it seems that now they're maybe regressing, so they're looking for other ways, or maybe they just need more money, maybe they're just greedy. That's also likely. So yeah, what is your takeaway from this? What exactly do you think is going on here? Is it because YouTube is actually struggling, or is this just a cash grab so that they can afford, you know, bigger yachts next year? I don't know. But let's have that conversation. And then our other follow-up for Gaming and Tech this week has to do with Splitgate 2. We talked about this when it was originally announced months and months ago. There have been 2 alpha tests in the meantime. The most recent alpha test was an open alpha that I didn't know about until after the fact, so I was going to wait for the beta to be announced. Well, here we are. The beta has been announced. There is a beta going live in May. It is an open beta, much like the way Splitgate 1 launched. It was in open beta for quite some time before it went into actual seasons. And I think we only got like 3 seasons out of it. But yeah, it is going to be an open beta starting in May. You can join their Discord if you want a more direct line to the company that's making them. 1049 Gaming, I believe, is the name of the company. There is some really interesting stuff that they have implemented into this newer version of Splitgate that kind of makes it feel less like a Halo alternative and more like its own thing. So I say that because originally when Splitgate 1 was a thing, a lot of the people who played it, a lot of the people that I played with on Splitgate said very explicitly that a big part of the reason why they were playing Splitgate at all, let alone as much as they were, is because they were waiting for the release of the next Halo game, because it was right about the time that Halo Infinite came out. The community kind of crashed a little bit when Halo Infinite came out, and then when we saw that the difference between seasons and beta was really not much, it seemed that another good chunk of their audience kind of started to dwindle out there. Now, from what I've seen from the alpha gameplay, some of this stuff is also Halo adjacent, i.e. dual wielding and stuff. Obviously, the portals is something unique to this game that isn't Halo adjacent, but is Portal adjacent, but still is differentiating itself. But now we have, like I said, we have the dual wielding. Where did my notes go? Oh, poo. Where did it go? Right here. Dual wielding. We have some interesting gear upgrades. We have a gear piece that speeds you up as long as you're inside the affected zone. Like, that's super interesting. You have obviously the life gear piece, much like the one in Halo, where you put the piece down and it creates an aura, and as long as you're standing in the aura, you get life, and so on and so forth. We also have the addition of factions. There's something like 3 or 4 character factions, and each faction is going to have different sets of special weapons that only they can pick up on map, which is pretty interesting. We now have large game modes, which again kind of is Halo adjacent because we've had big team battle in Halo for so long, but something we haven't really had for a long time in Halo, and something that they are bringing into Splitgate 2, is multiple team battles. The only way to do that is if you did a custom game for Infinite. I've never played 5, so I don't know exactly how that's worked in 5, but I know you couldn't do it in 4, and I know it was a thing in 3 for a while, but it didn't, I don't know, did it not, was it not popular? I feel like it was pretty popular because I remember doing it a lot. You had multiple teams of 3 to 4 people instead of doing a big team battle where you have 8 to 16 people on either side. You have like 4 teams of 4, which was a lot of fun. So I'm pretty stoked about that, not gonna lie. But then we do have something akin to big team battle and other things of that nature. We also have, it sounds like, and I could be wrong, again, I kind of trying to listen to this and research other things and listen to other things all in a big jumble, so I might be getting some of my information mixed up, but it sounds like we have not just a larger option for multi-team, but like the largest option for multi-team. Like you can do like something like 24 or 36 people in a room, in a game rather, similar to like a battle royale style thing, but and not the same kind of single elimination. You're going for points. It just looks like they're taking everything that was really great about Splitgate and expanding on it, and then adding other stuff that's complementary to it. I'm super stoked for this. So yeah, again, open beta comes in May, and then as other things start coming out around Splitgate 2, we will be talking about them. That's all we got though now. So let's move over to trailers. All right, nerds, so let's take a break real quick. New season, new sponsor. Well, not exactly new sponsor. This is technically an old sponsor. Me, I'm sponsoring myself. This season, we're going to be doing a big merch push. Don't forget the Dubby. Dubby's always great, but we have merch. We're going to be doing active merch things, sales and special items and all this stuff. Right now, there are no special items up just yet over at the Spring store. We do have random stuff on the Redbubble store, both of which are linked down below. But if you go check out the Spring store, that's where the Basic Nerd merch line is. So any of your Basic Nerd stuff that you want, basically it's all of the sections that we do the Week in Nerddom in. So there's a gaming nerd, there's a comic book nerd, there's a music nerd, there's a TV nerd, all of the different sections, and then the split sections even. We have a gaming nerd, we have a tech nerd, we have comic book nerd, and a book nerd. All of these are up in the Basic Nerd line. And then probably roughly once a month throughout the course of this season, we're going to be doing a special shirt in each of those, the section shirts, or however we're gonna sell it. I haven't worked out all of the details just yet, but we're getting there, all right? So go check out the Basic Nerd stuff. I super dig it. I think it's just the most simple way to proclaim to the world that you are nerdy in this area, or just generally nerdy, because it says generally nerdy at the back of all of these shirts, except for the zip-up hoodies say it on the chest. So yeah, go check it out. That is, I'm going to have a special, I will have things to show off soon. I need to order the individuals, the samples, and this shirt that I'm wearing right now is not currently up on the store. This is going to come back. It needs to be a little bit reworked because it still has the old logo on it. But yeah, we will be bringing back the "Do You Even Pop Culture, Bro?" shirts as a specialty item sometime throughout this season. So stay tuned for that. Go check out the merch, and let's get back to the video. In this week's gaming and tech section, so we have the big trailer is Death Stranding 2. We have pre-order trailer, and we now know that pre-orders will go live on the 17th of March, so we're just a few days away from that. The game will be released on June 26th. If you have not seen this pre-release trailer, you really must. This is so much motivation for me to finish the first game before June. I'm so intrigued by where they're going. Like, I know the broad strokes of the story at this point, even though I haven't finished it myself. Like, I'm very intrigued where this is going to be going in the second game. Also from there, another really cool trailer that came out. This is a launch trailer though, so this game is active on Steam currently, and that is Hauntsville. I believe we actually said something at the announcement of the game when it was originally announced, though correct me if I'm wrong, please. This is a Western-themed survival horror first-person shooter. Yeah, all of those things are in a single game together. Go check out the trailer because I'm intrigued as hell. I just don't think I have a computer system that is powerful enough to run this game. So those are 2 trailers that you should be checking out. Let's move now into the regular ass news. In regular news this week, we have, like I said, that Mario piece. We have a new Lego set that was announced for Mario Day. It is Mario Kart themed, so this is geared towards adult builders. All of the previous Nintendo themed Lego sets have been technically geared towards kids because generally speaking, that's who buys or plays with Legos. At least that's the perception of the people who sell the toys, because yeah, I know plenty of adults who build Legos, but this is specifically geared towards adult builders. It will be releasing May 15th. It will be $170, and it has 1,972 pieces. This is a giant thing. Actually, a bunch of just really small pieces. There is a series of these. If you follow the link, you can see the entire series, but the big one is the Mario in his cart from Mario Kart 8. Looks pretty awesome. Let's move on. So next is a tech piece, not necessarily gaming. This is about the website Dig. If you don't remember, Dig was kind of the precursor to Reddit. It was news-oriented, aggregate kind of place to get things, and people could interact, and it was like I said, precursor to Reddit. So the once popular social media news platform from the 2000s is being revived this year by its original founder Kevin Rose and Reddit's Alexis Ohanian, I think is how that's said, with Justin Mezel as the new company's CEO, aiming to restore its community-driven spirit with a mobile-first design and AI-assisted moderation. That's kind of the thing that a lot of people are getting hung up on, is they're not going to have, they're going to have minimal amounts at the very least of human moderators. So just an interesting situation with all of that. But announced in March, the relaunch includes private beta rollout with full launch planned for September, highlighted at Dig Nation reunion at South by Southwest. March 8th is when the announcement was officially made, though it faces challenges to stand out in today's crowded social media landscape. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this differs, because they keep saying all this free speech stuff, and we want to get back to the roots of making the internet a good place again, and etc., etc. So I'm intrigued, though I'm not holding my breath. And that's that. And then we have one more piece of regular-ass news here for gaming and tech, and that is Silent Hill. We have a Silent Hill transmission that will be happening March 13th. This will be just very similar, not just like, but very similar to the one that we got last year, which now it seems that Konami just wants to do these, which I'm definitely here for. So yes, let's keep doing this. Presumed we are going to be seeing some sort of update on the Townfall game as well as Silent Hill F, and also very much expected that we will be seeing something from the next mainline game, the one that's going to take us back to, or going to take us over to Japan. I think it was a feudal Japan, if I'm remembering correctly. So very interested to see what's going to happen to that. Again, March 13th at roughly 3 o'clock Pacific time on the YouTubes. That is our regular ass news. So let's get to our suggestion this week for gaming and tech, and that is Network Chuck. I work with a kid who is taking classes to become a network administrator, and I was talking to him just randomly about the ways he studies, and he said that Network Chuck is honestly one of the best resources he has on YouTube. The guy really knows his stuff. I've actually been aware of Network Chuck, kind of subscribed to him for a little over a year, maybe closer to 2 years at this point. Very interesting, very hardcore tech related. If you have some sort of DIY networking issue, you will probably find a resolution or a workaround on Network Chuck's YouTube channel, or you'll just see kind of nerdy ADHD at its peak, I guess you could say, in quite a few ways. So yeah, 100%, that is your suggestion this week. Go check out the Network Chuck channel on YouTube, just because he's gonna help you fix something. I know he is. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.